Hey, everybody, this is Larry. This is day 17 of the Leetcode Day Challenge, I think. It is, right? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about today's poem. Uh, hmm. I mean, if it wants to load, but it seems like it should be straightforward. At least if if the name is reasonably whatever. Today we have 11:10, delete nodes and return force. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me in Discord. Let me know what you think about this one. Before I start, I do want to talk about a couple of things. No, I don't know where it is anymore. I don't know. There's a link. I usually don't really comment that much about these things, but I guess it's been in a unavoidable, just because I mean, I am like 99% of my videos are on Leetcode and on contests and stuff like this, and the cheating has been going on insanely, right? But to be honest, there are a couple of things, right? I don't know. I think I made a stocky comment, to be honest, about when is the leaderboard gonna update. I mean, I don't really care that much, like about my rating or anything, like in general. Because why don't I care about my rating? Because rating can be taken away, rating can go up and down, but my skill, my knowledge, my wisdom, hopefully, that no one can take away, right? Maybe when I get Alzheimer's or something, but for now I'll be okay. And for now, it doesn't matter what my rating is, because what I know, what I have, what I am good at, you can't take away from me anyway. So that's one, right? So I don't care that much about my rating. And I think that people are conflating two things, a couple of things. One is that I don't care about my rating doesn't mean that most people don't. Uh, that does not mean that most people should not care about their rating, or all people should not. Like how I feel about how I approach life. You can take cues. You could do whatever you want. You could interpret it however you like, and then fit it into your life as you want to make sense of it, right? I don't care. Like I'm not going to, like, I'm me, you're you, you better, whatever, right? That said, there are two things, right? There is a difference between, um, there are definitely a lot of people, and I think also, to be honest, probably me when I was younger a bit, right? So maybe this is just one of those things. Definitely when I was younger, I was less established, say in not just like career and I don't know, competitive or whatever, but even just when I was younger, I was just not as confident in a lot of stuff, right? Like maybe I was smart in certain a couple of things, but no, still trying to figure out who I am as a person, who I want to be as a person, maybe more importantly, right? And rating is just one of those things that it's like, oh, okay, fine, right? Like, and of course, top back then it was like top coder or something. It's not Leetcode or Code Force or anything like this. Um, but yeah, but I think that said, you cannot let it be the thing that determines your happiness, right? Um, I think that's where I mean, and like I said, you don't have to take these advice. It doesn't really matter that much to me. These are just advice, and maybe you'll look back in the future, you'll be like, oh, Larry was right, or maybe you'll be like, oh, Larry was an idiot as well. That's okay. Look, I think one thing I've learned in life is that that this is why actually, like, for a long time people always ask me, like, and I know this is some sort of like youth meme culture of like doing this, all what, playing or whatever symbol, right? And I'm always just like against it, because everyone you meet are people for the most part, right? So like it doesn't make sense to worship anyone. Everyone was you in the past in some way, right? Like if you find yourself struggling on a problem for an hour, I've done that probably many times, probably more than you can even imagine, right? Like my favorite quote that I always say, from Teller from Penn and Teller. Sometimes magic is just working harder than anyone can imagine. Well, how does that go? Sometimes magic is working harder than anyone expects you to reasonably, something like this. You could Google it, but yeah, but my interpretation is that, yeah, sometimes magic is just working harder than anyone expects anyone to work hard, right? Um, yeah, and but that's the thing, right? Is that I think most people care too much about rating, and you could debate it, and I mean, I'm not saying don't ever care about rating. I think I don't know if I have a video for this, but maybe I need to do it. But like on the contrary, I think ratings is a good barometer, a metric, a ruler, if you will, to kind of see your progress over time. But remember, this is just like testing the temperature or whatever, right? This is just a point in time, right? If this is not your destination, it doesn't like it matters a little bit, but there's fluctuation all over the place, and you have to be willing to learn to focus on your goal, right? Don't let your training determines, or maybe put another way, I think um, I think this is a very common thing when you become a runner, or maybe even like weight training, right? Is that um, is that when you do weight training and when you're running, I think a very beginner thing that they want to do is that let's just focus on running for a sec, right? Well, yeah, uh, what a lot of people struggle with running, with long distance and stuff like this, is that they always go too fast because they don't feel like they work hard enough, or maybe they just don't feel like they're having fun when they're running too slowly, right? And that's fine, maybe if your goal is to have fun or whatever, then then just focus on that your goal, right? But if your goal is to ultimately be faster, to be to, like, if you have a goal to finish the Olympics, or not Olympics, sorry, a marathon or something like this, and you want, you have to focus on that. That's why I talk a lot about goals, right? It's okay to have fun, it's okay to focus on the fun, it's okay to do whatever, but having a goal will focus you on what you want your trade-offs are, right? And if you want your training rating, if you want to call it that, to be good, does that impede, you have to ask yourself, does that impede you from learning, right? Like if you artificially use tricks, even if they're legal, sometimes maybe illegal, maybe they're cheating, to raise your rating, and now your rating is so high that you cannot compete in contests, or maybe you just do an alternate account like some people do anyway, then like what's the point of getting your initial rating anyway? You end up cheating yourself, because now you're like, okay, well, I can't do contests because I don't want my rating to go down. Well, now you're shorting yourself some training, right? And it's the same in weightlifting, right? Like if you always go for the max until you injure yourself, or like you have to focus. Like, is your goal to be able to squat 300 forever and just stay there? And if that's fine, or is it to go raise that up to squat 400, and you have to do different accessories, and some of them are really not fun, right? Then you have to figure that out for yourself, right? And so that's the thing about rating, right? Is that in general, it's just one data point, all right? I mean, and people complain a lot about, like, I know it's tough in certain parts of the world to wake up early or late, or stay up late or whatever for a contest, but it's an hour, like it's not. Look, I mean, you don't have to do it, and also you can just do virtual contests, if and then like calculate, and maybe do your own own like calculator for your projected rating if I had done it live, right? As long as you don't, as long as you're honest with yourself, as long as you're not lying to yourself, then it's fine, right? Like it doesn't, like the rating doesn't matter, right? That much, it's not like like maybe you could, it's a good indication, maybe, I don't know, it's an indication, I don't know if it's a good indication of like maybe you're ready for an interview, and that's where that's where it's important. But the rating itself is not important. It's the training that got you that rating that is important, right? And that's what I want to put an emphasis on. and I feel like every time I talk about rating, because I do say that I don't care about rating, but anytime I talk about like leaderboards or whatever, people think it's a gotcha. Be like, hey, you said you said don't care about rating. Why do you care about this now? And I would say this. I mean, it's still it's still an indication, and you still want the integrity of it. But I think one thing is that one thing about rating, at least, and for whatever reason, it has been happening a lot. This conversation on Leetcode the last 3 months, say, right, which is the idea of unrating a contest or unranking a contest or whatever. And the thing is that like, it's just I think the thing is that if a contest does not have its integrity, then integrity. Did I say that? Yeah, if a contest does not have its integrity, then it doesn't mean anything, right? Meaning that if there's a 20-minute thing where no one can submit, like, is the contest a fair contest? No, I mean, no, I mean, like, no, right? Like, saying that everyone has the same condition is not the saying that the conditions are this the contest. Okay, let me try again. Saying that everyone has the same conditions does not mean that the conditions are fair, right? Or maybe even I don't even have to think about fair. I don't care about fairness. Well, maybe I do care about fairness, but maybe that doesn't have to even be a thing. It's just, is it the thing that Leetcode is trying to measure, or is it the thing that the rating is trying to measure, right? Like, if I break everyone's right arm and say, okay, everyone, you can only program with your left hand, right? Is it fair? I guess so. Everyone can only program your left hand, but then like, I'm not gonna lie. So I've been practicing typing with only one hand, just in case something happens to one of my hand, both of them. So I can type about 60 words per minute with my right hand and about 50 on my left. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's just a word or I'm just worse with my left. I don't know. But so in that case, are we? It does. But at that in that case, what does the rating represent? Does the rating represent how good people are at solving problems, or is the rating represent how fast people type with left hand, right? So like I think that's the thing, is that I'm always on the side of integrity, and it doesn't matter if my rating go up or down. It's just that when a contest is not, like, if it doesn't fit its goal of just figuring out how someone did on a competitive contest thing and nothing else, like no random externalities, like how fast someone is refreshing or what, I don't know, whatever, due to issues, then like what does the rating mean to you, and then also on the other side, the reason why I say that people, one of my things, and I think people take it in a way that is not quite precise, is that when like people say, oh, I did well, so my rating should go up. Wait, I did well, my rating went up, so this one should be ranked. But no, I mean, like, yes, but that is one, I think it's either one or the other. I don't know. It's either you're very selfish, or you're just like really naive or blind about how it worked. The reason why you did well is because like if a good amount of the people cannot submit, of course, and you somehow was able to submit because, I don't know, internet is a magical place, right? Then like, yeah, okay, you're gonna gain 100 rating, but that's because people were unfairly treated. That is, like, I don't know. I would not be happy if that was the reason why I gained 100 rating, right? Necessarily, right? And conversely, and I said this a couple of days ago, where I said, when I struggle during a contest, I look a little upset, but it's not really upset. It's just my thinking face. And to be honest, every time my rating goes down, sometimes a lot, I'm actually very thankful about it. And you get to see that face because that's when I'm struggling in a way to learn, to figure out how to learn from that problem. That means that there's an opportunity there. That means that this mistake that I made, there's next time there is a chance that I am now better because now I have a place to learn, right? It's so much easier to learn from your mistakes than your successes. You still have to learn from your successes, but sometimes it's hard, right? Um, and I mean, I've generally been consistent about it. You could go back to so I've won 2 Leetcode contests before, and this is all years ago now. Now it's getting really hard to win. So unless you're ChatGPT, but that's another story. But so I've won 2 contests, right? One of them I was actually just fast, so I was very lucky, I guess, in a way. There's some stuff about that one that I'm not going to talk about. I mean, I think I talked about it during that video. If you find it, you'll find it. But the second one is that, to be honest, I just copied and pasted from, because I wrote the editorial on another site, so I just copied the code in and out, right? Yeah. And so I mean, I finished first in that one. But if you watch that video and you get my reaction in real time or live or whatever, I don't know if it's real time or live, but like you see my reaction at the time anyway, and you see that I'm like, I don't know, like it's not a proud moment for me, right? Like it's like, I mean, yeah, I'm still gonna celebrate my victories. I'm not gonna complain too much about winning, but it wasn't like yeah, I really defeated the whatever, right? Like it was just you know. And I think that's the thing with cheating also, right? Is that you so artificially, or even just using tricks, right? Is that you artificially raised your rating so much that next time you get it for real, you don't even find joy in it. It's just so hard to celebrate because you're like, well, kind of did it before, but now this time it's for real. But who are you gonna tell? Who's gonna celebrate with you? Who are you gonna be like, oh, I reached rating 3,000, but for real this time, because last time I cheated, so this time let's celebrate, right? That's not a, I don't know. That's just not a, I don't know. That would be really sad for me if that was the case, and you just have to like keep it inside. I don't know, right? But that's a little bit of a side. But yeah, my point about rating is that I mean, you know, clearly people care about it so much, right? I mean, I don't think I'm wrong here, right? Because if people cared about it so much that they have to cheat and use ChatGPT and all these other things and cheat groups and all these things, right? So I don't know. So I don't think I'm wrong, but I would also say that I'm not hypocritical when I say, I don't care about my rating, but it's still nice to get rid of the cheaters. I think it is not like on the leaderboard or rankings or ratings or whatever, right? It's still nice to. I mean, I don't know. I don't think these are things, but it doesn't mean that people should care about their rating on a content that's unrated because it's not fair to a good portion of people, right? Like if people were able to compete actually fairly, then then you wouldn't have gained that much rating, then it wouldn't have been a good contest. There's a huge selection thing. Also some empathy, because there's a reason why, like if you ask someone and if you did well in those unrated contests and you ask anyone who did not do so well, then they'll tell you their troubles, and then you can choose to empathize with them or not. And I don't know, it's a very obvious thing. All right, that was a 20-minute intro. My apologies. Maybe I don't know. It's just kind of been things that has been on my mind the last couple of I guess more than a couple of days, but more than a couple of weeks, and all these things. I think there's also another one about cheating. I think the thing is that this intro is very long. I don't know if anyone's gonna whatever. But in America, you can like anonymously accuse someone of something, right? Like in the court of law. So I don't know. So I think it is very cowardly for someone to accuse someone of cheating and be like, oh, I'm 100% sure. I'm so sure that I won't tell you who I am. It's a very cowardly thing to do. Whether it's, and it's not ad hominem, because I don't think I'm able to separate those two things, right? Whether the facts are facts and whether the person presenting is still, I don't know, dubious, right? Like what you have to hide. Maybe they have to hide the fact that they also cheated. I don't know, right? But Yeah, and you can also present facts in a way that is not clearly biased. uh, I would say that most of today I was in the gym. I ran for a couple of hours. I had, you know, lunch and dinner with friends. These are the things that I care about. What I don't care about is random Leetcode drama trying to like. I look, I and maybe this is because I'm older, but you don't have to be an expert in everything. You don't have to care about everything that happens in random things. You know, like this does not change my life, right? Like you also do not need to care whether I think someone particularly is cheating or not. It doesn't matter. I have no power. I am not I cannot ban someone or I don't know, kick someone off Leetcode, right? Like I'm not an administrator, not a moderator. I'm no one on Leetcode. I'm just some guy solving problems, all right? So you shouldn't care about what I think. It doesn't matter. Uh, but if you're gonna do it, at least make the math, more reasonable, and like you can't just, I don't know. But and it may also add more weight if like I said, the anonymous thing is a little bit cowardly in my opinion. But yeah, it doesn't matter what I think. Why do you care about what I think? Whether someone is cheating, like it's like that thing that I kind of banned on my Discord of talking about whether I think a particular contest will be rated or not. I don't know, and I don't. It doesn't matter whether I think it's going to be rated or it's not. Leetcode doesn't listen to me. It doesn't matter what I think. It just happens or not, right? Like I don't know. It's and it's not even that interesting to think. It's not like talking about who's going to win the World Cup. At least you get some fun about talking about stats or like it's not that interesting to me. All right. My apologies if you came looking for this video and it's 22 minutes long of me just talking about random stuff. Let's actually solve the problem. And yeah. Okay, today's problem is 1110. Delete nodes and return forest. Given the root of a binary tree, each node in the tree has a distinct value. After deleting all nodes in the value into delete, we're left with a forest. Makes sense. Return the roots of the tree in the remaining forest. May return the results in any order. Okay, so you have a list of 2 deletes. Of course, I think this is one of this is a core idea in whatchamacallit, right? In Q2 of the contest. First of all, we should convert this to a list so we can kind of look it up a little bit clearer, right? So maybe 2 delete set or something like this. Right? Just very easy thing to do. And then the next thing is it is kind of, I don't know how I want to do it. Or at least I not gonna lie, the reason why, I mean, I know how to do it. I know how I want to do it, but the reason why I pause is always that I always kind of find it a little bit icky to use like a pseudo global. I mean, in Python, it's not technically actually a global because I think it's still allocated on the stack, so it's not like it's not a global in the sense that it's allocated outside the stack like it would be in some languages on a heap or something like this, which is another story. And man, I am sweating even though I am half naked. It is very hot today, and I did run like 8 miles, so I am just not in shape. But yeah, but going back to this, so so here we just do it recursively, and the idea here is that the root is always going to be the answer in the answer, and then it's just about finding the relationship, right? And the relationship is that if you delete a node, then and I guess in that case technically the root doesn't always have to be in, but if you delete a node, then its children will be in the answer, unless they're also, so it's a little bit awkward. How do I want to do it? So I have 2 ideas about this. I still haven't. I'm working through it, but I'm talking through it. So I don't know it right now, but it's not that hard to figure out. But there are only 2 ideas that you can happen with recursion, right? Is that one is that it's pre-order, and then the other is post-order, meaning that you traverse and then you kind of get the thing, or you get the thing and then you traverse. Which one is more suited for this particular one, right? So let's say we delete the 2. Yeah. I mean, we have to do 2 things, right? One is um, delete the node, and then another part is to return the forest. So both of these, well, not delete the node, but at least like delete the connection between the parent and then the node, right? So yeah, it's definitely annoying, but yeah, shouldn't be that bad. But yeah, but I guess we'll do a let's go traverse. We have a node and a parent, right? And then okay, so then I mean I'm not convinced either way yet, but we'll just write out some basic things like if node is none, we just return, and then otherwise, if node.value is into delete set, then what happens, right? And I think this is just a case analysis kind of thing, and we just have to be careful and write it in a way such that there are as few edge cases as possible, or just even cases in general, so that it represents queen thing. So then we know that parent. Mm, hmm. Hmm. Well, I want to write something like. So okay, so say this is in delete set, right? So then what happens? Is this something like this? Then parent.left is equal to none. So you can do it this way, maybe. But you can also maybe like put something in the traversal, right? Which is a little like I don't know. I don't know which way is. I think this way is a little bit yucky looking, but for now maybe we'll stick to it. The other way that you can imagine is something like, I don't know, traverse node.left node node.left is equal to this, node.right is equal, and then here then the idea is that if you don't delete it, so if you do delete it, then we can just return none. Maybe we don't return none yet here, but like the return value is none or something, right? So maybe the return value is node, and then like return is going to be none, and then we just return R. So then now going up it'll be none. So you can maybe do it that way. I don't know which. I mean, this one looks cleaner right now, I guess, but it's not clear to me that the other way is worse, right? And then now, of course, we still have to. So that's the part about deleting the node. But then now, but we still have to handle the the answer part. Okay, right? And how do I want to do it? So basically, if what do I use the parent for? But what I want to say is that like I want to write something like this. I'm not super convinced yet. But then write something like, oh, and this is just notice none. We just return none. But like if parent is none, that means that the parent was deleted. And then here maybe well, maybe after this part, actually after the return part, because it can also be none. So parent is none, parent is deleted. If R is not none, that means that this node is not deleted. Then append something like this, but it looks very yucky, to be honest. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. But I think maybe this is okay. Let's give it a spin. I don't know that I'm missing any. I mean, it feels like I caught the cases with this one, but it just looks so disgusting that I'm like not very confident about it. That's why I really want to run it. Am I? And the thing is that, like, it works for these things, but it's not clear to me that it is exhaustive. But this is why we run test cases. And in general, I've been pretty bad about it, mostly due to laziness. But yeah, what I want is, okay, let's just say this one, but now we delete the root. Then does that work? Oh, okay, so that does okay. What I want to also delete is like nodes in a row, or like cascading thing. Like we have this. I want to delay it 1, 3, 7. Say, does that still look okay? Okay, so then now maybe I'm adding more confidence. I mean, this is the point of adding tests, is that is more confidence. So let's give it submit, and yes, I beat my score from 4 years ago where I got 2 wrong answers, because this is kind of tricky in that way, right? Like, yeah, it's so easy to make mistakes. How did I do it last time? I mean, we did the set, okay, results. Oh, I added the root without really thinking about it, and the root could be one of the answers, I guess. Well, I mean, that's at the very least true, but but definitely there are other things that are wrong with it. And maybe this one, yes, this one is where the root thing came into play, and then and then finally, did I just add more if statements? No. Oh, and then I kind of cheated by removing the root after it is added to delete it. Yeah, I think this is basically where I was going to, right? Like this direction of thing. I think one thing that I don't use enough is, I think I do it a little bit more now just because I'm a little bit more practiced. But I think that back then, and maybe still now, I don't do the recursion with the parent enough times, because actually having the parent here makes this code. No, the return actually is pretty nice here. Don't know how I thought about that one, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, this parent is actually a lie. Like you can actually convert this to like is parent or has parent, right? And then this is just like false, and then now if not has parent, right? Then something like this, and then now this is like something like that. It's less wonky, to be honest, if you ask me. If this is not none, I mean, whoops. Right. I mean, it's more thematic, but or you could rewrite this as like is parent deleted or something like this. I guess that maybe that's a little bit more straightforward actually. But either way, yeah. I mean, this is gonna be linear time, linear space, or because this can be linear space in general, probably like n/2, right? In the worst case, but otherwise it is just also O of n traversal or O of h stack space, if nothing else. So yeah, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Stay good, stay healthy, to good mental health. Remember, don't care that much about your rating. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye bye.